All right, I'm going to kick off my first video here. I need to talk about the indicators that I offered up a little while ago. Um, just so you guys know how to use them. They're not that intuitive, but they're not very difficult to figure out either. I'm a guy who likes simple things. I like to make things as easy as possible. So this to me is just kind of an easy way to figure out trend. And we'll start with a Tesla chart because I haven't done Tesla in a while. And we start up on the monthly. Only indicator I have on here is that ATR band. So you'll notice a few things pop up when I click it on. And first are these EMAs. You have a 13 and a 50. You can go in and see them in the settings. You can change them if you like, but those are the EMAs that I've used since I went to a Steve Morrow conference. Oh gosh, back in the very early 2000s. So it's worked well for me. And then you have this bar here coming in gray because it doesn't have information. And then boom, we go green because we're on the way up as it can figure out where the average true range price and trend are. So this is my own secret sauce formula ATR band. And it's an amalgamation of a lot of different pieces of information. And it doesn't like to move unless price and volume really push it. It tries to stay relatively stagnant. Oftentimes it'll line up with fixed range volume. We'll see if it does here. Not exactly. It did up here for a little while, but you can see it's moved down a little bit more. Let's see. On a monthly, we can tell that we've been moving up. We're stuck in this kind of triangle. And right now we have mixed information, right? The ATR band is red. The EMAs are still green. They're getting close to crossing here. And that typically indicates volatility. We did the same thing here. ATR was green, however, mostly because it had just calculated in. But you can see the EMA is getting close to that cross on the monthly. And right before they hit, everything just kind of broke out. But since we don't have a lot of information here, we should hop down into the weekly. I will put this line for our monthly in, but I think that our weekly line, ATR band, is probably in a similar location. So if we come into our weekly, monthly and the weekly are right on top of each other. Now in the weekly, it's green we're green with red EMAs. So we're mixed again on information. So we don't have enough information on the weekly to take a trade for a long-term trade, right? So we just don't have that entry point. The other piece you'll see is we now have our 200 EMA. It's because we have enough information from the weekly chart to throw in the 200 EMA. Where on the monthly chart, we're still lacking enough monthly candle closes. We're under the 200. That's typically a more bearish sign. We've been fighting to hold it for a while. Every time we sink down, snap back up, it doesn't want to go down. It's clinging on as best as it can. But we really want to see on a longer term trend, what we really want to see is we want to see price come up, break this, get above the EMAs, get above the ATR, test it again, and then move again, right? That's going to start pushing everything back up. But we're not there yet. So since we don't have that information, I'm going to turn this green, and we're going to move it just a little bit. I want to put it right there, and we'll label it weekly band. So that way we know where our weekly band is when we go into a smaller chart. Let's go down to the daily. The daily is probably easier to trade off of anyway. And now on the daily, we've broken green and we just now got a green EMA cross. It's not really spreading out yet. So we really want it to hold this band. But we do have daily bullish indication, which means our target should be up here around $200. So we're looking for about a $25 move if you wanted to take a trade on this, right, you don't want to put your stop loss on the band because the band gets tested a lot. I like to take the next level before the band moved again, and that's here. So this would be the minimum stop I'd use, right? So then we can determine, let's make that red because, you know, red for stop. Yeah, all right. So this would be the minimum I'd use for a trade. This would be the target I want. And now to determine if this is even a trade I'd want to take, no, let's not use that. Let's use the long position. So if we entered here and our stop was here, which isn't a great stop, but because we have this big gap down here underneath, right? So I'd rather enter here than stop here, honestly. If we tested through and found support, I'd be more inclined to long from here. But for the sake of this video, we'll pretend that we're in a good spot, or we've decided that, you know, it's time for Tesla to move, and it might be. Yeah, so our risk to reward ratio is 2.33. It's not great, but this would be, you know, a first take profit. If you were really thinking that Tesla is ready to move, this would be your first take profit. Personally, long term, I don't think we're on super solid support right now. If we were down here and finding strength, I'd be more inclined to go with a longer term trade, just because we'd taken down this low. Now we're already down off the low. We would have taken down this low and draw our typical fibs. And I keep mine pretty simple here. Yeah, we're in that. I mean, we're still in that good support box. So you want to hold under here, right? Man, let's do another one. Let's pull a more local from low to high there. Yeah. See, I'd be much happier taking a position if we came down here. So I'm not actually going to take this position, but we will track this theoretical trade just to see how it works with the indicator. But in life, like if I were going to actually take the trade, and this is my disclaimer for this video, if I were to actually take the trade, we'd be down in here. If we get down in here, I will update this video, and we may go with an actual live trade at that point. Until then, this is all just theoretical and practice. So this is our practice trade, our entry, right? Our stop. We don't want to break under the ATR band if we're going to move now. And this will be our first target. Where can you find another target? Well, be up here in this mess. Now, you could pick, you could pick the prior high on the ATR for another take profit. That's an easy way to do it. Personally, I like to run the fixed range volume profiles. I want to see this range. Yeah. And you see the value area high, and we see another volume spike here. So somewhere in between this area would be a really good heavy take profit. And then if you broke this neckline, and I know you guys, if you watch, I know Brendan's big into W patterns. I love W patterns as well. You have a range continuation W, right? So these would be your lows, and then you get that classic W pattern. And what else does that look like? Well, you can grab your harmonic tool, and you come up, and yeah, you could get a let's do like a 141. Yeah, you get yourself a nice, I have to check again, nice butterfly-esque pattern there. Basic wave, kind of your basic wave predictions. But yeah, let's track this as just a little one. We can even go a little tighter. Let's go a little smaller. Let's mark our daily. All right. Let's go back to green. Let's go back to solid, and let's call it daily band. Okay, so we got our weekly band, we have our daily band, and let's break it down a little bit smaller. Let's go into the 4 hour, and we are just under the 4 hour. The 4 hour is also giving bullish signs. Unfortunately, it's giving them to us underneath the 200 and 800 EMA. We're just barely above the smaller EMAs. Yeah, I feel like what's going to end up happening is this becomes kind of an ABC kind of deal where we come up and hit this liquidity and get rejected and then come back after. That looks a little more plausible to me, but yeah, I want to climb these. I mean, we could come up here and climb these EMAs, start getting scooped by them instead of rejected, falling back through. And once we get into that scoop, then we could start moving up. If you want to mark the 4 hour, so you do smaller time frame options, we can mark the 4 hour. With less typos. There we go. Mark the 4 hour. Now we got the daily, the 4 hour, the weekly band on there. Let's see. Yeah, we got a lot of support in here down near our stop loss. Like I said, this isn't a great entry. This is just a practice entry. If you want to throw some fake money in it, if you have a practice trading account, you could do that as well. I'm just going to leave this up here on the chart, and we're going to track this, and I'll come back to it. Let's do this again in a week. We'll come up and we'll just do a quick recap on Tesla, and then we'll track something else too. I don't want to overload too much information at once, but if you guys have any questions about how to run this or how to work this in the charts, just ask me. You can DM me, and I do try to check my DMs daily. If I'm not getting back to you on the DMs, just at me in the Discord chats, and I will get back to you on it. All right. Give it a little practice, have a little fun with it. Tell me what you think, and if you have any other questions about it, seriously, get with me. I'll go over the RSI next. We'll do the video on that in a little bit. It's relatively simple. It's really just a fancy posh RSI. That's it. It does work pretty well in conjunction with here. I just didn't want to add it. I didn't want to put too much in here at one time to get you guys confused as to what's going on with it. Some of the other things you'll see on here. Obviously, the blue is the 800, white's 200, and then we have our 13 and 50 EMAs. We have the band. The candles are when we are trailing or being supported by the EMAs. So we get these crosses, and that's where you'll see the candle colors change. And you can edit all this in the settings to make it as visually appealing to you as it needs to be. I have right now as default, it's got all the works, like all the indicators that we are crossing, right? Like you don't need the ATR band. You could just have the diamonds, or you don't need the diamonds. You could just see if the ATR band is green or red, because the diamonds just show up when the ATR band shifts. It's easier for me to see those, so I make it that way. And same thing with these. We get our little crosses, and we get our color changes on the candles. Like, so it changed all the candles underneath when we cross bearish are red, even if they're green candles. They still have the green wicks and the outlines on the bodies, but they're red because it's kind of a bullish trend candle. Whereas all these are green, even though some of them are down candles because they're bullish trend candles. And you can take that out if you want. It's all up here in the settings. It's fairly customizable. You can change how the ATR calculates. You can change your EMA levels, at least for the two that are for the EMA cross. And then, yeah, you can change the way your ATR band looks. You can get rid of diamonds and turn them into whatever you want. Under the bar, over the bar, all of this. And if you have any requests for settings, let me know. I can do a little bit of fumbling around with the code and try to get those in there for you. especially if I have like a lot of similar requests on something. But I need to wrap this up. I got to get rolling. It was good to put out a video and good to chat with you, and I will talk to you guys